Woo. I think I need. This was terrific, but I think I need a palate cleanser. Hi, everyone. It's me, Grant, the movie and TV guy. How are you? Um, I'm here to talk about a film I just watched. It just dropped in the time it took to watch it on Shudder as well as AMC Plus. The film, it's movies and TVs that we do here, is a haunting piece of work called The Amusement Park, which is directed by George A. Romero. Now, you're wondering, how is that possible? Because unfortunately, we lost George A. Romero in 2017. Well, The Amusement Park was a lost film of Mr. Romero's. He shot it. The film is an interesting history. He shot it as an educational piece in 1973 for a Lutheran church. And what happened was it was so disturbing, true, that they basically locked it away in a vault, and it's taken nearly half a century to unearth it, restore it, and now release it, which it did today on Shudder. The stream, basically the perfect, like the Netflix of horror. So what's the amusement park about? First off, I should note that if this goes toward any list, it counts because technically, even though this film is very short, it falls in the parameters of a feature film because it is over 40 minutes. It is 53 minutes in total, and the film features a wraparound segment by actor Lincoln Maisel, who is also the star of the main film. And he begins by explaining to us that the film in question we were about to witness, the majority of the cast and crew were volunteers, both young and old, who, as many of the elderly people they had the best time they've had in years working at an actual functioning amusement park for this, despite the heavy subject matter. And why is that? Well, we soon find out. We begin the film with Lincoln Maisel as an elderly man in a white room wearing a white suit, and band-aids and cuts and bruises. Another man, Lincoln Maisel again, walks into the white room and asks him why he doesn't go outside to the revelry of the amusement park. And he very weakly and very downtroddenly says, "There's nothing." I'm going to find out anyway. The totally uninjured Lincoln Maisel says, and sure enough, he does. What he finds is this amusement park is an allegory for every kind of midway and fun activity is an allegory for the mistreatment of the elderly in our society, and it's a very surreal trip for him, where certain things like the bumper cars are about the indignities of the way elderly people are treated on the road. A moment with what seemed to be some kind of illusionist is actually an allegory for people who swindle confused elderly people out of their mortgage and their home. And among them is a pickpocket who acts like he's friends with the old man just to steal his watch. We have a fun house that is actually an intense and very frightening retirement community home where the patients are clearly, they say it's going to be fun when he goes in, but clearly they're in distress. A fortune teller booth where a young couple wants to see their future, and we see it too, where no doctor comes to help an elderly man who's suffering and fading away, and his wife is devastated and doesn't even have the dime simply to pay the phone call to get someone to help her husband in time. All these things culminate in what appears to be this man's last ounce of hope for a positive interaction with a young girl who he reads a storybook to, but even then, she's gone again. And we find out that this white room is essentially purgatory. Because the man that we saw walking out has become the man who was in at the beginning, who's heartbroken, confused, devastated, and beaten down. And another Lincoln Maisel comes in, and we start all over again. He goes outside to face another horrible fate at the amusement park. This is a beautiful, beautiful film. George Romero and his lead actor Lincoln Mazel, as well as the unprofessional non-actors they have in this film, do an amazing job. Mr. Mazel, who also is no longer with us, unfortunately, is a performer who very realistically shows just the indignity of this man. There were multiple times where I sobbed during this movie, and this movie is not long. What Romero is ultimately trying to say here is, we're all going to get older. We're all going to find our way to the amusement park. We are all going to be old, and we're all going to die. And that allegory kind of fits well. Sometimes it really is not a corpse coming to eat you, or a reanimated corpse coming to eat you, or a machete-wielding monster at a summer camp. Sometimes it's the thing that none of us can run from, death. Death and getting older and fading away and not getting what we deserve from the people who are supposed to take care of us when we can no longer take ourselves. What it's ultimately saying is, if we have to lose our mind and lose our lives, the one thing a man always needs, or a woman always needs, is their dignity. And unfortunately, both in 1973 and now, unfortunately, our dignities, the dignity of the elderly, and the inevitable dignity of us when we become elderly, is being taken too. The idea that what Romero is saying is, it shouldn't be. And if anything, it's more relevant now than it probably even was nearly half a century ago. The Amusement Park is a beautiful piece of work. Right from the beginning, there's not a lot of dialogue in the script, but there's an insane amount of pulsating, loud, ringing music. It kind of puts you in a strange position of becoming confused and being older, and the sounds, how they all elevate, extreme angles. This is very much a Romero production, but it's not a traditional horror film. It's a deep psychological study at the mistreatment of our elderly in America and in society at large. I love this film. I think it's a beautiful piece of work, and I think it's a very important film, and it chilled me to my very core. I'm going to give The Amusement Park 5 out of 5 stars. This is one of the best films of the year. Go watch The Amusement Park. If you have Shudder, or you have any other way of seeing it, it might be on DVD. Go watch The Amusement Park. What you think I've said is a spoiler, it's not. This is just, it's not technically. You'll see when you see the film. So, The Amusement Park gets 5 out of 5 stars. Let's close the book on it. Trailer Trash None. Was there shawarma? Through the main credits, yes. It's one of those 70s shot films with the ending of the film run into the credits. So, that'll be it for me. We'll have some more announcements tomorrow. I'll do a little announcement video. In the meantime, I'm Grant, the movie and TV guy. I see it all, and I'm happy to share it with you. I love you all. I appreciate you all. I love you all, class dismissed. I love you 3000. Be kind to one another. We'll all end up at the amusement park one day. Let's all treat each other with love, dignity, and respect, especially our elders. And be kind to one another. Thank you all. Take care.